Hello there and welcome to Discourse on Global Television. I am your host, Priscilla Obasi, and today we're talking about something very important, and that is conversation around Gen Z learners and old school teachers. We want to talk about bridging the gap. Yes, we live in a time where education is evolving faster than ever. Technology, with attention spans, digital classrooms, and new learning styles altogether. But many of our teachers were trained in a different era, and that is the chalkboard generation. And if we even have more recent ones, it is the marker, and the whiteboard generation, where authority, and discipline and memorization ruled the classroom. So we're asking this question: how can we bridge the gap between the Gen Z learners who live in a world of Google, of TikTok, and the old school teacher who still believes, the cane is mightier than the tablet? To help us unpack this conversation, I'm joined with me by, she's an educator. Yes, she's a consultant, educational consultant too. And she's someone that has worked with teachers. She's someone that has worked with, children, students. She spent years mentoring both students of all across all ages, especially in today's fast-changing world and today's fast-learning environment. She's someone that takes her time to even mentor students outside the country. That's why I feel like she's able to do justice to this conversation. You'll get to meet my guest just after this break. Please stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us and welcome back. So we are on the topic, like I said, we're talking about Gen Z learners, the old school teachers, and bridging that gap. And I'm joined with me in the studio, an educator, an education consultant, Ifoma Janet. Please, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here with us. It's such a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, so let's dive straight into the conversation. I know you have, an experience with children and even using the latest digital, tools in education. Now, when we talk about Gen Z learners, let us just go back to the basics. When we talk about Gen Z learners, what stands out most to you about their learning style and their behavior?
Okay. You see, Gen Z learners, for me, I think they are highly visual. They are highly visual and they are natural explorers. They tend to ask lots of questions. They are curious to know what's this, what's that, and they are tech driven. Let me use that word. They are tech driven. They prefer learning through videos, pictures, and real life examples rather than long lectures. And they value interactions. They value interactions and quick feedback. They love to see what they are learning, connecting it to real life. What is this? If you're telling us this is how to grow a plant, we want to see how the plant grows. We want to see the process. What does it take? So I can say that what stands out most for me about the learning style and behavior is their crave for interaction, their creativity, and the quick feedback. Thank you.
Interesting. Interesting. So, if we compare this category of students, that is the Gen Z learners, to students we had, say, from some 5, 10 years ago, what would you say is the major difference?
I think there is a long gap. The difference is much. Yes. Because as of 10, 25 years ago, students were patient. Students will sit in the class through long lessons without complaint. Even though there was no interactions, like it wasn't a two-way thing between the teachers and the students in class. But today's learners, they are easily bored, especially when you do lots of repetition. They are easily bored. I have a child I'm taking, so when you bring up a topic again, he'll be like, "But man, we just did this last week." I say, "Yes, we are just doing it for mastery's sake. We are doing it for mastery's sake." They don't believe that we have to do this for mastery's sake. We already know this thing. So stop giving it to us back to back. Unlike the other generation of students we had, like 10, 20 years ago, whatever you're giving them, they take it because there's no interaction. Most of them, they don't even have the boldness to ask you, "Why are you doing this?" Today's learners, they prefer creativity and speed. They love to multitask a lot. And they learn best when lessons are interactive. So we've actually moved from chalk and talk. We are now on click and learn. Thank you.
Okay, some teachers describe this generation as distracted or say unserious. Do you think that is fair, or do you think it's a misunderstanding?
I think it's a misunderstanding, really.
Why do you say so?
It's a misunderstanding because um how will I even put it now? Now they are not distracted. They are not distracted at all. So when we say they are not serious or they they are distracted, I can tell you that they are not distracted at all. They are simply wired differently, if I will use that word. They are wired differently. Now, they process information faster and they have shorter attention span. The reason why it's because they grew up in a paced digital world. When you look around, everything is just digitalized. So this is where they grew up. This is where they take their learning and their experience from. So the only thing we can do is we just need to teach them in ways that match their environment, in ways that match their energy.
Okay, so let's talk about teaching methods and classroom culture. Now, what are some old school methods that no longer work effectively with learners of today?
There are lots of them. You and I know there are lots of them because the old school method it's no longer working effectively now. Now one of them is excessive note copying. Excessive note copying, yes. Now when you give children lots of things to write about, at the end of the day, you pick out bullet points to ask them as exam questions. So why didn't you go ahead to pick out those bullet points to teach them in class and also bring it up as their exam questions? So the note copying now it's boring to them and it's tiring. They tend to complain a lot. Another thing is our style of teaching, the pure lecture style of teaching. It doesn't hold your attention anymore. And the long dictation of notes you see, you'll start dictating notes for children to write. It doesn't work anymore.
Interesting.
Even all this strict silence, yes, strict silence during lessons. You have to keep quiet, keep short, don't do this, don't do that. It doesn't work anymore. Now, as you're teaching, you allow them to express themselves, discuss about the topic. You ask a child, what is a noun? You tell them it's a naming word. Yes. You see them naming things. Okay, are you trying to say is this? Are you trying to say is that? But the olden days, I think the children just keep mute. They don't contribute. They don't do anything. There's no collaboration. So I think the old school method no longer work effectively, because most times when you tend to discuss a topic in class, even children that are not, maybe they've not gotten it, we tend to get it more when there's a discussion in class. That's why you see that everybody is moving at the same pace. If I may say.
Now you struck a chord in my mind, or right in my heart, when you mentioned note copying. I have a 5-year-old son that always comes home to complain of how teacher gives him so much to copy. And then teacher also gets to complain about this from time to time, saying that he doesn't like to copy. What other alternatives, can replace note copying in the classroom? Because it's something I would like to also suggest to his teacher.
Okay, I think what the teacher should do is, now we work. It's a digital world, right? Where almost every parent have a gadget. So I think those notes can be sent to their parents for them to go through with the kids. Or the topic that is meant to be talked about can be watched in class, like a video. Yes. I think it will even cover up everything that you wanted them to write. And it sticks. Just like yesterday, I was having a class with a child. So I told the child that today we are not copying the notes. We are going to see a video and we are going to learn with the video. The child was so excited. He said, "Ma'am, no writing today." I said, "Yes, no writing." Now let me tell you that at the end of that lesson, when I asked this child everything we talked about, he gave it to me words after word. Because he was seeing them visually. I wrote it down as a note somewhere. So I now looked at the bulky note. I said, oh, if this child had actually read this, would he have been able to answer these questions? And I said, no.
Interesting. Many teachers still rely heavily on note dictation and rote memorization. So you were saying that giving teachers or sending notes to parents. How about parents that do not have time for these kids? Because it will take an intentional parent, or parents that has time on their hands to be able to still go through these notes with these children. And then most parents just make out time for maybe test seasons or exam seasons or even assignment. So is that basically the only alternative? Notes, sending notes to home. Okay, you also mentioned notes dictation. Watching them or making notes in video formats, right? So that little students, can actually see and memorize. I just want to reinforce that. Do you want to just buttress on that a bit more?
Okay, when we talk about children not writing notes, I think it's for the lower class.
Lower class, say which class? Primary?
For the lower class, let's say the early age to maybe year 3, primary 3.
Okay.
Then from 4 years and above, they can do copying, but not bulky copying.
Okay.
It should be bullet points, straight to the point.
Okay. Interesting. Let's dive to this question. How are you saying something?
No.
Okay, so how can educators integrate technology in low resource classroom, especially in schools that do not have all the resources. Public schools. Let me just say that.
Hello?
Did you get that?
No.
Okay, I said, how can educators integrate technology in low resource classrooms, especially in the public schools?
It can be done even with limited resources, yes, because now I think every teacher should have a phone.
Okay.
Every teacher should have a phone. Yes, they do have phones, smartphones.
Okay.
Then there are lots of Jambox and everywhere. There are Jambox everywhere, and there are educational apps online. Now, I remember when we were just starting, then without all these interactive whiteboard in classes. What we do then is we have our phones, download the videos, get our Jambox, play it while the children listen to it. And at the end of it, you ask them questions. You don't need to have, what is it called? The name just skipped my memory right now. Okay, while I try to remember that. Now there are simple tools like charts. We can get cardboard papers, make flashcards, make improvised visual aids that can make lessons more digital and interactive. Now you don't come up with this idea alone. You can do a collaborative work. You have teammates, you have teachers. So then when we are doing our class decorations, maybe we can have like 4 arms of a particular class. What we do is the topics we are going to cover for this particular subject. Now you are going to do a chat for this topic, and the other person is going to do a chat for another topic, while the other one will also make a chat for another topic. So what happens is when it's time to teach, we do rotations of the chats. So you see you're not the only one working that out. Collaboration and teamwork amongst teachers, it can go a long way on that. You can go a long way on that. Then you share ideas and you share tools. I think that will help integrate technology in low resource classroom, especially in public schools.
Now, talking about collaboration, teachers are usually assigned to their different classes. How is it possible to collaborate technology-wise, having different teachers catering to different students in different classes, different age, across different age grades?
Okay. Now, in public school, you can see that their JSS1 is having close to like A, B, C, D, and all that.
Yeah.
So I think after the class for the day, they should have a meeting to collaborate, to talk about how they are going to meet up with their learning activities. How do we put this out for these children to learn? Now you see that ideas are going to come up. You have different classes. You're not asked to leave your class. You're only going to be at after school hours. The children are at home. You strategize, plan against the next lesson you're going to teach. Because in those classes, we have subject teachers, right?
Yeah.
We have subject teachers. Now there are still subject teachers that have idea of what you are teaching, that will tell you, okay, why don't you do it this way or do it that way? Now another thing can be assigning teachers to do what is it called? To do a draft. We have our lesson plan, we have everything. Now look into this lesson plan. Can you make out time to do this for us? Because this is what we're going to be learning the next day. I think that way the collaboration will still happen even without them leaving their classes because the students are home already. I don't know if I did justice
That's
to the
quite that's
question.
thoughtful. I mean, it's a great idea, and I really I buy that. I buy that idea. Let's go to the emotional and social aspect. Now, Gen Z learners are often said to be more emotionally expressive, sensitive in quotes. How should teachers handle this without, first of all, do you even believe that this is true? Do you think it is true? And then how do you think teachers should handle their sensitive nature or their expressive nature without labeling them as, rude or even weak? Or I don't know if you get the question.
Can you go through that again, please?
Gen Z learners are often said to be more emotionally expressive and
Okay.
sensitive. How should teachers handle them without labeling them, negatively?
Okay, I believe that we teachers, we need to understand that emotional expression is strength. It's not weakness. Now, these learners, they are more aware of their feelings. It's a good thing that they are aware of their feelings. Now, teachers should listen, guide, and teach emotional control. We should guide, we should listen, we should also teach emotional balance rather than shutting them down. Now, I have a case of my own daughter. She's very expressive. All of a sudden, she came back from school on a Friday evening and you ask her a question, she doesn't respond. You try talking to her, she's not responding. I was like, what's going on? Maybe she just started school. I think she's just not adapted to the new environment, or she has not been this person that embraces crowd. So when the dad called, the same thing, the dad said, no, I should call the teacher and ask what's happening. Is anyone bullying this child? Only for us to notice that the child has been talked down on, so she's bottling up a lot of things. Yes, she's bottling up a lot of things. She wasn't that expressive anymore. Like, this is someone you say hello, she'll just be all over. All of a sudden, I said, no, something is wrong. After talking to the teacher and everything, we found out that the assistants, they are really the one trying to talk this child. So these ones now, they don't know about the child's emotions. So they also need to be trained to look at the children's feelings, to know their feelings, to know how they feel. Most of them are going through a lot. They are going through a lot that we don't understand. But if we teachers can be able to understand that emotional expression is strength, not weakness, I think it's going to go a long way for us to be able to communicate, listen, and guide the children.
It was funny when I heard you say children are going through a lot, and I'm wondering what they can actually go through.
They're going through a
Yeah, a
lot.
lot of people will say, how would children be going through a lot? Like, what can children actually go through? Well, they can actually go through a lot, the same way you feel stressed.
Yes.
The burden, the same way you feel emotionally burdened is the same way they feel burdened. They are human beings.
Exactly.
They are just a smaller version, but they can actually be burdened. So we need to treat them as human beings. Yeah, let's go to the next question. Thank you for that.
Even as parents too, sometimes your child will just come to you and say, Mommy, I want to talk to you. You don't know what the child wants to ask you. The child, you will see the child just ask you a question that randomly you can't speak of. You see that child has actually gone through something for the child to open up to ask you the question. That's why as parents too, we should listen to our children.
Very, very important. So a lot of people still struggle with modern day parenting, saying that it is not for Nigerians. That is when it comes to handling your children gently, not using the cane all the time. And teachers too. I don't know. Most times, due to the fact that some schools have given them rules about how to discipline, some of them do not feel very comfortable with some of those rules, but they just have to stick with it. Now, how can teachers balance discipline with empathy in today's world or in today's generation where modern parenting is highly encouraged?
Hmm. This is a strong one. Okay. For me, discipline remains important. Yes.
So you're not a modern day parenting mom.
I am.
Okay, so
I am, but
where's the balance?
exactly because these Gen Zs, it's well. So for me, discipline remains important, but it must be built on respect. It must be built on respect.
That is
Now,
respecting the child or respecting the adult.
yes,
When you say respect, should children be
um,
respected? So many people feel like children shouldn't be respected. Only adults should be respected.
no, 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 no. I watched the clip when a child woke up in the morning and saw the dad was expecting the
The
child,
child,
as his son, to
yeah.
greet him.
Mm-hmm.
So the child was like, the first person that sees someone is the first person
Interesting.
to greet. So
Now
I was like, wow.
that's funny. But really, that is how it should be. To
I
encourage
was
such.
like, really? God.
No, that cannot be an African. The guy, that child is not under an African home. It
And
cannot happen. You cannot
actually,
say. You cannot even
did
think
that
it.
actually change this for
The moment you are thinking it, it's already a crime.
did that change this for him? Anyways. So but even at that, we should respect these children
Children.
too. We teachers we need to set boundaries. We need to set boundaries and we need to do that calmly. We need to do lots of explanations. Now, we need to give reasons for any rule we are making. Now, when these children see these rules, I don't think they are going to fault in them. Do you understand?
Yeah.
We need to use positive reinforcement instead of fear. We don't put fear, create fear in the children. We don't create fear in the children. And these children are inquisitive. That thing you say they shouldn't do, they will want to do it. They want to shake you. They want to know. They want to check your patient level. Like, how far can you go? I had a child there. That was the first 10 years. They just entered the class from nursery 2. That's primary 1. So these children will intentionally don't want to write. Yes, intentionally they don't want to write. These children have good handwriting. They will intentionally don't want to write the handwriting that is meant for the school. Like in my school, we use a Nelson handwriting. So they will intentionally just be writing anyhow. They are just testing you to know how far can you go. Now, if you do it calmly, they will say, oh, actually really need to do the right thing. But if you now push it and try to create fear, hey, you see that it's going to go beyond what you even imagine. Yes. Now, when learners don't understand the why behind the rule, they don't respect it more. But when they understand it, they respect it more. Empathy, on the other hand, it helps teachers to correct behavior without damaging the child's confidence. I know that sometimes we feel overwhelmed with their behavior and all that, but we need to balance things up. Empathy doesn't weaken authority. What it does is it strengthens connection. They need to balance things up.
Thank you very much for that. Quite insightful. Now let's go to teacher training and reorientation. There are lots of schools that go through teacher training exercises. Do you say, before I go into my main question, would you say it is getting better? Or would you say that there are teachers that are still repelling, this change that should come into the education system, the classroom?
Yeah. Sorry, can you repeat it again?
I said schools over years. Can you hear me? Over years, we've seen schools, private schools, indulge their teachers in teacher training. Would you say that we can see a good effect? We can see that teachers are getting better, or do you think that we're not there yet?
Oh, we can see effect.
Really?
We can see effect. Yes.
It's working. Why do you say so?
Because these teachers, they want to be good themselves. They are working on themselves to be good. Now, when there's an opportunity for them to move a little bit higher, they embrace it, and the result is showing on the children. Yes, the result is showing on the children. Aside from the other ones that they don't really want to, they don't want to shift. There are some people that
those teachers still exist. Those ones that feel anything that are saying is not my business. That old school, that old way, I know it. It has worked for me.
Exactly.
It worked for my children, and it will still work. Some teachers are still stuck with such mentality.
You come into a school and see somebody that's been in the system before you came, and probably the person wasn't. How should I put it now? It's not following the recent trend. Good. Like, it's not tech savvy.
Yeah.
When it comes to the educational aspect. Now you see this person still trying to tell you that the usual way, the way we do it, this is the way we do it here. Now you don't bring your own idea. This is the way we do it, and this is how it's going to be. Especially if that person is like a head, maybe head of arm or maybe head of school. The person tells you this is how we do it here. You don't bring that to it has been working for us like this.
Yeah. As an education consultant, what is your experience with schools or parents, with the whole introduction of the 21st century learning style? Do you see acceptance, or do you still feel, this repel?
That one is broad. But anyways, some parents will take it, while some will not take it. Sorry, can you reiterate your question again?
Yeah, I know you tend to children even outside the country.
Hey,
can you hear me?
It's breaking.
Can you hear
It's
me?
breaking.
Are you with
It's
me?
breaking.
Okay.
Yes, I'm with you.
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes, I can hear you.
Is it better?
Yeah, clearly.
Okay, so I'm saying,
Clearly.
as an education consultant working with different parents, how would you say they accept the 21st century learning? Are some of them still, back or out, still choose to stick to their old methods? Do we have parents that are embracing, or do we have more parents embracing the 21st century methods of teaching and learning than those that do not, want to make a move, or, just move away from what they know?
Okay. I get the question now.
Oh.
Now, yes. The answer is yes. Because more parents today, they are beginning to embrace the 21st century style of teaching and learning than those holding on to the old ways. I would say the shift it's happening gradually. The shift is happening gradually. And I believe it's time for us educators to move with it. to let go of outdated practices and meet learners where they are. I think they are beginning to get it. Even one of my parents yesterday was saying, yeah, my child, whenever you say, let's write notes, let's do this, automatically the child tells you, oh, I'm not feeling well. So the child is trying to shy away from that. But when you say, okay, come, it's an interactive game, it's an educational application. It's going to help you learn. You see the child coming up to do it. So I think parents are now catching up, even on their own. They are engaging their children without um what should I say? Yeah,
I know,
I think they are.
an educator that have this platform where she has lessons with children in diaspora, and most
Okay.
times she's fatigued with the fact that she has to take one child at a time. So at some point, I kind of suggested to her that she merge students together, or even create visuals, that she can always present to the students whenever she doesn't have the energy, or whenever she has, because as humans we can break down, and
Yeah.
I think it's part of working smart. So having to record your videos and present it to the parents, and guess what? The parents disagreed, saying that the teacher has to be there, else they feel like their money is not being utilized if the teacher
Yes.
decides to use, her own time to still make these videos. They feel like it is cheaper labor. They don't know the work that goes, in you doing this thing on your own in your spare time, preparing your lessons and making them in a visual format to also, still do the same thing that you would do. So a lot of parents, even in diaspora, still have this issue, because most Nigerians that travel out of the country still depend on Nigerian teachers to
Yeah.
teach their children. I've seen it happen over and over again, and they feel like our curriculum here is better, and yet we still complain of the fact that Nigerian education system is bad. Sometimes I can't even measure it. But I understand the fact that we're ahead. We have the lessons, we have the topics, we have the what do I call it now? Curriculum is rich, and I think sometimes it's overburdening on even students. But that's what we think helps us become smarter, as a people, and it has paid off over the years. Yeah, so we
Yeah.
still depend on this, as our educators. So, but like I said, there are still stereotypes to the fact that you have to be there. You have to be there to teach the student through the WhatsApp call, the Zoom call, or whatever it is. But I just want to see you there. So when you say
Yeah,
that
they
parents
have the
are
reasons for
adjusting,
that.
huh?
They have their reasons.
So what is their reasons?
Yeah, because one of the parents I talked about,
Yeah.
I told her this is how we want to run it now. The parent said, so when the child gets a question to ask, so who does she ask the question?
No, yeah, you can actually write down questions. And then when you get to meet that teacher again, you present all your questions to that teacher. I think there are ways about it. It's part of I think this is part of the limitations we have as a people, that is Africans. Maybe even let me narrow it down to Nigerians. Yeah, there are methods about, there are ways to go about all of these things. And if we want to say we are technologically inclined, then we need to really change that mindset that still keeps us behind. I don't know what
You
you
know,
think.
this 21st century teaching
Yeah.
method, it's still unfolding. I think we are going to get there. It's still unfolding, yes.
Yeah.
If a parent can now accept a visual class for the child instead of a physical class, can't you see that we are progressing?
Yeah.
So very soon very soon we are going to get there where you learn at your pace. After learning, you have it's happening already, but it's just that it's happening for the older ones. It's happening for the older ones. It's just that some parents have not actually embraced it that much. Maybe they've not seen reasons to do that, but I think with time they are going to see reasons to do that. And it's going to be less expensive. It's not going to be that expensive as they think. Because they think that when you're with their child, you're giving the child everything.
And I don't know that there is more.
You don't know there is more.
There's
So I
actually
think
there is
very
actually
certain.
more. Okay, let's just go for
Very
this quick
certain.
break. When we return, we'll just, round up the conversation. Please stay with us.
Okay.
All right, welcome back. We're still on the conversation on Discourse, and we're talking about, Gen Z learners, old school teachers, bridging the learning gap in Nigeria classrooms. We are still here with our guest, Janet Abel Bliss. She's an educator, not just that, an education consultant. Are you still there with us, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so how can older teachers adapt, especially those who feel left behind by technology? This one is for teachers.
Can you repeat that again, please?
How can older teachers adapt, especially
Okay.
those who feel left behind by technology?
Oh. Okay. I can say that the only person that is left behind is that person that doesn't want to change. And that person is not determined to, and the person is not working towards it. Yes. But if you are, if you are, or if you're working towards change, if you're determined, you will see that you start small. You can start small. You can start using WhatsApp groups. Now, there are lots of applications that help you do your slides. You don't need to start doing lots of designing and all that. There's PowerPoint slides you can use. There's YouTube for you to go and
Learn.
watch tutorials on how you can fit in. Now, another thing is to meet the younger colleagues. They can also mentor you on that. If you feel you don't want to add more, you don't want to follow the trend, you're going to be left behind for real. And most of us, I think it's pride. Pride can still keep you where you are. You'll still be left behind. So for you to adopt, you have to move. It's never too late to learn, I can say. And another thing is, how willing are you to try? If you're willing, you can try new things, and I think that's what matters most.
That is inspiring, and that is to those that feel left behind. You can
Yes.
try from where you are. It is actually possible. Let's go to this question. What kind of professional development or mindset shifts do you think is most urgent right now for those that are left behind, and even for those that have caught up with the 21st century teaching methods? What kind of mindset do we need to have?
Okay. We need to actually shift from information givers to learning facilitators. Yes, I think that's the first thing that will help us.
Please take that again.
Another thing is continuous professional development on technology. You need to still keep improving yourself. Then emotional intelligence and modern teaching methods should be our priority. You were trying to say something before I cut you short. Sorry.
No, the very first point, I didn't get that.
Okay. I said we need to shift from information givers. We see ourselves as information givers. We teachers, yes. So we need to shift from that and try to be learning facilitators too.
What advice would you give to teachers struggling to connect with students of today, with today's students? What advice would you give to such teachers?
Yeah, I said we have to, first of all, we have to be open-minded. We have to be open-minded. Then we have to be patient and flexible. They need to be patient and flexible to be able to connect with this student. Another thing is to observe your learners. How do they learn? How do they learn? And I think it's going to help you to connect more with them. Use examples from their words. You know, when you want to teach a preschooler, should I say an early year child, you need to speak the language they understand. Their cartoons, the words, pick words from there, actions from there. You'll be able to connect with them easily with the music they listen to, social media, daily life. We just have to remember that connection comes before correction. Before you can correct a child, you have to first of all connect with that child. So for you to connect with that child, you have to be open-minded, you have to be patient, you have to be flexible, you have to observe them, and just go to their level.
Finally,
then you connect to them more.
Okay, that is absolute. Connect with them, go to their world, and sometimes you need to. I think you need to do what they do. The social media, get involved. Like go and watch what they watch, so that you know how to talk to them. You know what sticks for them, and that is what you have just mentioned. Now, before we go, what is one change that could make the biggest difference in today's classroom?
Okay. One change that's going to make a difference in today's classroom. I think it still boils down to our mindset. Okay. Yes. Another thing is valuing and understanding overall learning. Okay. Then, if we can train both teachers and learners to think, not just to memorize, to think, we are going to raise a generation ready to solve real life problems. Then, also moving from, what is it called? Exam-focused education, yes. Yeah. To being creative, critical, and practical learning. If you can embrace curiosity, I think there's going to be a big shift. Fantastic. That is absolute. And it is on that note, I think, we end the conversation today. It has been an insightful conversation, no doubt, with you. Before we go, do you want to give one last word, to that learner out there, to that teacher out there, just in 1 minute? Okay. So, I can say that we teachers, when empathy meets technology, and wisdom meets curiosity, education becomes truly transformed. I would like to tell the teachers out there, they are doing their best. They are trying, but we shouldn't be left out. Move with the pace. I know for some it's going to be hard. For some it's going to be very easy. No matter how it is, just move with the pace. because there will be a time when, let me not say that. Let me hold on to it.
Okay, I guess we'll get that thoughts on another conversation.
Just stay
All
there.
right,
It's
thank
okay.
you. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Thank you for coming
You're
on the
welcome. Thank you
show
for
with us
having me.
today. We really appreciate your time and all the wisdom you have shared with us. We'd like to tell you bye right now.
Have a nice day.
All right, and then to our viewers, it has been an impactful conversation, and this is particularly for teachers, connected, and also for those learners. Maybe on another conversation would have to do a conversation around helping students to cope with the generation that they live with, right? You are in Gen Z, but you have to know that in reality, you do not exist in this world alone. There are people that have been in this world before you, and you need to know how to coexist to get the best of life, because their wisdom still would help you in your success in life. Yeah, so that will be a conversation for another day. But for today, I want to say a very big thank you for still being here with us, for listening to the conversation. Make sure to utilize every information we've learned here. Until we come your way again on Discourse, do have yourself a fantastic day.